Zach Varghese to the stage.
So the year's 2009. I'm 11 years old. My dad turns to me and said, "Hey, for winter break, we're heading to India." That dramatic. And I said, "Wait, what? India? That's like a split-second decision? All right, let's go to India." Of course, I'm 11, so I have no say in the matter. And immediately, like in a blink of an eye, we're at Hartsfield-Jackson. And we're in the Delta plane, or Lufthansa. We afford that more than Delta. We fly Frankfurt, India. Arrive at India. And holy crap, this is so much different from America. I walk out, and the first thing I see, people. People, 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 all around. And when people say India has a population problem, when you're there, you will experience it. And especially in the airports. You'll see people yell, yell, yell at the top of their lungs trying to get their family members' attention. Hey, can you speak in your native tongue?
Hindi?
Yeah, just for like 5 seconds.
Hello, मैं यहाँ पर हूँ.
Yeah, imagine that, except for 2 hours straight, and 500 times louder than that, from 100 people. So, that's happening all around me, and I'm freaking out, an 11-year-old, just like, what's happening? Where? I don't even remember the last time I was on an airplane. This is crazy. And then my dad says, "Son, I'm a big man. I am 240 pounds. You will not lose me in this crowd." And I said, "All right, Dad, I won't lose you in this crowd." And even when I thought I lost him, I'll look through the crowd. "Oh, Dad." And I'll walk up, and sure enough, it was my dad. Well, eventually, I got out of the airport, thank God. And we get into our cab, and we take the cab all the way to the apartment. Now, India is a lot different from America. A lot different. And I didn't realize that at 6 o'clock in the morning, something starts. Again, can you speak for 5 seconds?
क्या बोल?
Yeah, imagine that, except for 500 times louder from some temple of a god I don't worship. And they're screaming at the top of their lungs like this is the last thing they can do. And I'm like, what's happening? This is not American. What is happening? Only later, my parents turned to me and was like, "Oh, that's a prayer. Don't worry about it." I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And it went on, and it went on, and it went on. And it kept on going on for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, why? I'm a pretty devout Christian, and I can't even do that. And luckily, we planned ahead. We planned ahead and decided, hey, we'll take a bus. Now, going from place to place in India is a major transition. It goes from shifting through people, just standing everywhere, and like tons of animals that you didn't think would be on the street, but they are on the street, and it's weird. Cows walking by, and I'm like, what? Why is there cows in the street? There's chickens and stray dogs, and I'm like, what, is this the city or the country? I don't know. And then all of a sudden, you're in a bus, and it's super quiet, everything's dark, and there's beds in the back, and you can sleep. And I took a 15-minute nap, or at least I thought it was a 15-minute nap, but the minute I woke up, there was nothing. I looked out the window, there was no people. I looked out the window, there was no city. I looked out the window and I only saw trees. Only trees and mountains. And I was like, oh, I'm far from where I was before. And I kept on looking out the window. And then all of a sudden we reached a clearing. And I could see for miles upon miles of just trees and trees and trees. Eventually, we reached our destination. We got out. And we got into this cab. It's called a rickshaw. And it's very weird because this thing doesn't have, like, sides. You get on and you go. And when my dad says, get off, we get off. Doesn't matter if they stopped or not, just get off. And my dad speaks another language, so he's speaking this other language like he knows what's happening. And I'm sitting here like, I wonder where we're going. Eventually, we got on another rickshaw. This time, it has sides. It has glass windows. And the glass sides on the front and the back. It's like a car, but it's still a rickshaw. And we drive up the mountain. We kept on driving, we kept on driving. We saw some roadkill, which is very different from the roadkill here because it was a dead monkey. But you know, we kept on driving up the road, making our way, and the sun's starting to set. And slowly it changes from the usual sounds of like birds and different wild animals scurrying to all the birds going silent. And all the scurrying stops. And suddenly I hear a growl. And I freak out. And then later, after the growl, my dad says, yeah, we're going tiger spotting. We're going on a boat on the river to spot some tigers. For fun. And I freak out. Luckily, my mom turned to me and said, hey, don't worry. This glass on the side, it's reinforced glass. A tiger won't jump in. Only later I realized that's a complete lie. She only said that so I would stop freaking out. We reached the river. We got into the raft, or the boat. It is a boat. And we go down the river. Just going slowly, slowly, slowly. No tigers. We wasted $150 on a boat ride to see tigers, and there was no tigers. Eventually we got back, and we hung out with family. And honestly, hanging out with family made the whole trip, whole stressful, loud, time-wasting trip worth my time. And that was my third trip to India. Thank you.
Good job, Zach.
He lied.
Wow, just ripping apart.
Great job. Let's give Zach feedback for his storytelling manual project 2. Elements of a good story. Zach was also in time.
No, it's just really that blurry. Oh yeah, that's a complete lie.
In the place that into the mountain.
Dead monkeys?
That was true.
There's a lot of good stuff on the other side of the globe.
I give us speaking my
This one is has its similarities, has its differences.
Wait, was the tiger hunting real?
Huh? The tiger spotting thing is real.
Did
It's
you see
no
tigers?
tiger hunting.
Oh,
I can't believe y'all went. We heard that and my cousins were like, no hike today, we're not getting healed.
No hike
I was
today.
Like, hey. because there was like one spot it was not moving, like.
I don't know.
It's okay, you no,
This is too.
no.
This might be for you.
It might be.
We'll figure it out. Speaker 3 is Ikra.
Why are you making that big?
We love her table topics about Canadians and all sorts of good stuff. Let's welcome Ikra to the stage.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you can start. Okay. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna like keep track on the board of the takeaways, sort of, and the outline of where this is going. So, what do you think of when someone says poverty? Come on, this is not a trick question. What?
I'm gonna give you my fields definition: financial inclusion,
Oh God.
So you mean poor
Yeah.
people? No.
anti-financial inclusion, financial exclusion.
I'm gonna say finance and say we think of poor people.
Okay.
Is that right?
Okay.
That's where I would go with. So, when we think poverty, we think poor people, people who can't afford basic needs, things, they struggle, they suffer because they can't afford basic amenities. Typical definition. But I would argue that poverty is a state of mind. Poverty is a state of being. It's not what we see it to be just when we're looking at someone, oh, you have like this nice watch or this shirt or this. Poverty is beyond this. And people can, it's, okay, well, I don't want to like spoil this speech, so I'll keep going. But I heard another quote, I actually saw this quote online, so I didn't come up with that. But it was weird because when you see poverty, you think of something materialistic, you think of a value, a number, a dollar sign. And I was like, what does it mean for poverty to be in the mind? That doesn't make sense to me. And then I thought of this other quote that I heard a long time ago by some dude person that was like big. It was in like Sunday school, whatever. But desire makes slaves out of kings, while patience makes kings out of slaves. Which is a bomb quote because I was like, whoa. But it's amazing when you think about it because a king who can just keep taking, I want the next iPhone, I want the next brand, the biggest TV, this, that, I want more food. He eats, he's still hungry. He drinks, he's still thirsty. It's a person who has a voracious appetite for anything and everything. He can't stop. It's like a vat. You want to keep filling it. It's like a black hole. It doesn't finish. You're forever trying to fill this desire. You become a slave to that. But a slave who's content with what he has. A person who doesn't make much, maybe makes that 40 grand a year, has a content family situation, comes home, there's food on the table, there's a house over his head, and he's like, wow, thank goodness, I live a good life. He's able to be like, this is good enough for me. He's not enslaved to filling that vat that doesn't end. Vat, whatever. But he doesn't have that appetite that can't ever be satiated. And it is not something by a price. It's a state of mind. You put that hole there on yourself. My grandfather would always tell my dad that at the end of the day, if after spending on your family, on your groceries and your meal, on your house and your needs, you come back after your long day and you're 99 cents short, you're in debt. You're poor. But if at the end of the day, after all of this, you have 1 cent left over, you're rich. You've made a profit today. What a wonderful mindset. My grandfather was a laborer. He was a blacksmith. And he had 9 children, the youngest of which is my dad, who's a doctor in America. From here all the way to here, by that definition of poverty, this man was not poor. This man was not poor. He had contentment, which is what the next word is. Actually, it's gratefulness, but gratitude. Gratitude is what ends when poverty begins in the mind. When a person is poor in his mindset and he can't appreciate what he has around him, gratitude ends. And then you fall in that pot. And then you're poor in your mindset. And then you can't satiate yourself. You can't find satisfaction. You can't be happy You get home at the end of the day, you're angry at your mom, you're angry at your family. What you eat isn't enough, you keep gorging yourself, you're just sad. You put yourself in this negative mindset. Gratitude ends when poverty begins. So, there's more to be had though. And when you're able to realize that, then you can move beyond this point of poverty. And all of this kind of leads up to generosity, which is what starts after you can end poverty. We think generosity is only giving to other people what we have. It's materialistic. It's $1, a coin. Hey man, I'll help you get a drink from the vending machine. Little acts of goodness, which is true. This is generosity. But what we often skip out on is generosity to ourselves. We forget to be nice to ourselves. We forget to give ourselves a pat on the back. You did good today. You did great today. It was a fine day. Or was it a bad 5 minutes that you just milked for the whole day? Be generous to yourself. We're all trying hard. We're all working hard. Don't put yourself in that vat where you can't, that black hole where you just can't be happy. Take yourself out of that. Be generous to yourself. And when you can fill that cup, then you can give to others and you can be grateful. So it all comes back. Full circle. You see that? But this is a hole. So you don't want to stay stuck in that hole. You want to stay outside of it. You want to be here in this back and forth, in gratitude and in generosity. Thank you.
Good job, Ikra.
Yes, sir.
She was in time for her speech. Please, people, give her feedback. Pass that in for her to have. Good job.